Buddy, welcome back to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, so we're going to go over a few things in this stream. I do apologize. Once again, YouTube is being a little bit crazy, so unfortunately, I'm having to use my phone for chats because unfortunately, I can't pull up the pop-out chat. Don't know why, but it's being buggy. All right, so first thing I want to hit before we hit the patch notes is the developer's blog called 5.0 PvP. And this is going to be addressing some of the changes with 5.0 and how it's going to affect PvP and future notifications moving forward into Shadowbringers with PvP. I will also go over some of my concerns with the state of PvP and hopefully what it needs moving forward from my perspective and my experience. Okay, so this was posted yesterday. Hello everyone, Redania here, anxious to get you some PvP info before calling time. If anybody's not aware, calling is during the feast. It's when we're able to pick up like these potions and, you know, get our limit breaks full. Early access is right around the corner, and I'm sure you're all eagerly waiting to level up your characters and explore what Shadowbringers has to offer. You may have seen the plethora of changes made to PvE actions coming in patch 5.0 via various announcements and interviews, but I bet you have been wondering about PvP actions too. Yes, we have. Luckily, we are able to show some of the adjustments that will be made to PvP system and actions from right here in the Wolves Den. Now, also, there are links in the description below. I'll make sure that both links are present. This way, if you want to check this out yourselves, you can. Okay, so without any further ado, let's take a look at some of the changes coming in patch 5.0. Gunbreaker and Dancer debut. Okay, so pretty simple because we have two new jobs. You're going to be able to use them in PvP. The only job that we cannot use in PvP is the Blue Mage. Okay, it's the only one. Heaven forbid if we would ever get access to that because it's completely like overtuned. It's Blue Mage just, there's a reason it's a limited job. Okay, now, as with other jobs, their PvP actions will vary from their PvE counterparts because it's kept separate. That's one thing I do like about this game. Please look forward to how the two new jobs will feel in PvP. TP removed from PvP actions. So TP's been removed from PvE, so justly so that we would also see the removal from PvP. So, parallel to PvE, the TP system will also be removed. All right. One good example is Dragoon's Piercing Talon. Its recast time and effects have been changed with the removal of the TP system. All right. Removal of PvP traits, rework of additional actions. Our original intention with the PvP trait system was to allow for unique play styles, but we found that players tended to select the same traits when playing certain jobs. Instead of focusing on PvP traits as the defining point of a playstyle, we reworked each role's additional actions. This will provide more options for players when selecting actions that complement their playstyle. For example, here are the melee DPS additional actions. Okay, so for example, Bolt is still here. And now with Dragoon, you get the blood for blood. That's a heal. You get Bloodbath. That's, you know, a heal. These are damage type heal. Or no, that's a DPS buff. This is a DPS heal. We have Backstep and we have Fetter. Okay. Note that some older actions have returned, such as Fetter, Ward. Each role has their own unique selection of additional actions. Even physical range DPS and magical range DPS have different additional actions. The number of actions that can be set will continue to be limited to 2. So choose wisely and remember to check them before each match to make adjustments. Now here's my problem. The fact of it is, you only have 5 and you can only pick 2. I like the fact that PvE and PvP are kept separate. I like the fact that we can select a number of these abilities to make playstyle unique. However, I also feel it's not enough. Like, this is where this game could shine. This is where this game's PvP could be more than what it currently is, by opening up some of the additional abilities in PvE, not giving them all, but giving them more access and increasing the number of actions they can they can select. So instead of 2, why don't they give us 10 and let us pick 4? This is the problem. It's like, you have the abilities there. You could increase the number of possible combinations, and it would diversify each role more prominently. It would give a lot better dynamics to each job in PvP. Unfortunately, they keep it adjusted to this set fixture, and it's too limiting. I'm just going to say that. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to say why it isn't taking off and some of the things that could enhance it better. Okay. My opinion, though, some may not agree. The number of actions can be 2. PvP actions adjusted for all jobs. All jobs have received a major PvP action rework since rework in patch 5.0. There will be brand new actions as well as changes to old actions. Some jobs may find that their playstyle has changed quite a bit as a result. Okay, so for example, we have the ninja here. These are the initial abilities that the ninja is going to get besides the other actions. So these right here are your selectables. These are your standards. Standard combo. And I don't have a problem with any of this. Like having a standard template and then adding. I just wish they would add more. Okay. Some of the new actions added in 5.0 are also available in PvP, such as Goku, Mayaku, and Bunshin. Pre-existing actions have also received a number of adjustments, allowing for new strategies. For instance, Kakurumi shared the use of 3 mutter and other ninjutsu actions. Now it will have its own recast time, allowing you to use it freely without worries about other options. Now, one of the things that I hope they do, we get a stack effect in PvE, and I hope they implement that in PvP. So basically, you can have abilities that build up its potency, and you can utilize that at a more appropriate time. And I really hope they implement that in PvP. If not, I don't know why they wouldn't. That would just be like crazy not to take advantage of that new feature. Additionally, is now a charged action. Okay, so we do get it right here. Maximum 2 charges. So that's great. That's awesome that we're getting this. Okay, perfect. Of course, the other jobs have had PvP actions reworked as well, so we hope you try them out all in Shadowbringers. PvP also, now this is a very big point here, PvP will be receiving a large number of changes in 5.0, and a new frontline mode is planned for 5.1. So we are getting, it was mentioned that we were getting a new PvP feature, but we didn't know what is it. So it's a new frontline in 5.1. It might be a new game style. That's all we know. So 5.1, we're going to be getting that also on top of the crafters. End game is going to be implemented during 5.1. So really, really good news. The PvP in this game is not good. And some of the things that need to be addressed, single queue system, it needs to go. You need multi-queue. It needs a multi-queue. Incentives for PvP. Currently, we have Glamour and everything at the end of the day is glamour. I'm going to say that. I'm not suggesting that they put a gear system in, but what I'm trying to say is if there's no incentive for the long term, no player is going to feel rewarded for their efforts. So my suggestion, you put tier level rewards for casuals and hardcore players, both to compete, well, not compete for, but to push for. We have the feast rewards, which are the competitive reward system, which is great. I suggest that they keep those and they don't implement those reward systems into a casual PvP setting. However, for casual players, they want something that's going to, be rewarding other than, cheap. The glamour's not cheap by looks. But what I'm saying is it's not expensive to acquire. It doesn't take much time to acquire that glamour. So people will get what they want and then stop PvPing. You need to increase the mark cap and have more expensive items that players could want, like potential housing items, like plaques, trophies, things like that, mounts, other different effects of glamour for gear. All of those things are incentives. But some players might not want gear. They might like the look, but they might want a housing item, or they might want a certain mount or a certain title or trophy. These things are important to help players get involved into the PvP scene. Okay? So and also combat wise, like I said, I would extend this to 10. They have the skills to do it. It's not asking them to make up any abilities that don't exist in the game. It's literally just giving them more access to their tool, to their kit, and letting them choose which ones are more viable to their rotation. That's literally my thoughts. I like the fact that PvE and PvP are kept separate, but also a diminishing effect needs to be implemented because currently healers are gods in this game. So a multi-queue system, diminishing returns, because I'm not against the healer healing, but also let's give the healers capable firepower in PvP, right? Just give them capable firepower. So if they would decide that they don't want to heal, that they can go ahead and utilize abilities other than, their primary role and function. That gives them some defensive elements. Also, make it so that 2 or 3 people, it doesn't take 2 or 3 people to take out one player, because all they have to do is spam one ability with no diminishing effect. So there's no penalty posed against a player for spamming. So I don't understand that one either. In 20 years of testing for companies and playing PvP, I've never seen a gross intentional overuse of one job, except now. And it's apparent. Okay, but I do like the elements of the feast. I love it, by the way. I like the fact that everybody gets a range, a melee, a healer, and a tank. It's just that the DPS doesn't have enough sustain. The tank doesn't have really a lot of group functionality as it should. And the healer is just almost impossible to kill unless he's focused, because we don't get a lot of CC effects. Our CCs are limited. All right. With that being said, let's move on to the patch notes. Okay, 5.0 patch notes posted today. Early. Now, Work to Game did also cover this. Brian over at Work to Game. So I suggest if you really want somebody's an experienced opinion, I would go check out his review of the patch notes. Also, Mione should be covering this, as well as Mr. Happy, as well as Mystique, and other content creators as well. I haven't done a lot of the patch notes review for Final Fantasy XIV. But let's get into this. Okay, so here's the icon marks that any changes is going to apply. You'll see these marks above. 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, and then correlating if there's any adjustments to multi. And I'll just go do a brief overview. Okay, let me check to see if there's any comments. No comments, so we're good. All right, playable content. New cities have been added. The Crystarium. Okay. Olmore. New field areas have been added. Lakeland. Colusia. Arang. Mug. The Raktika Greatwood. This looks badass. I'm dying to get into this zone. Added to 5.0. New cities and field ethers have been added. Okay. Quests. Patch 5.0 introduced mirrored quests in addition to the main scenario. As such, there may be cases where the patch notes only cite the initial quest in a series or omit quests entirely to prevent spoilers. We encourage players to explore and discover what new stories and adventures await. Okay. I'm not going to get into all of it. 5.0, new main scenario quests have been added. People are dying for this, as well as myself. There's a lot of hype built around the plot and the story in this game. And I'll tell you what, if there's only one reason to play Final Fantasy XIV, and let's say you're a person who likes a certain show or you like a certain series of books. Why do you like it? Because you're attached to that story and those characters. Final Fantasy XIV is no exception to that. Okay. The Cypress Trench. Okay. 5.0 new side story quests have been added. Pretty self-explanatory. 5.0 role quests have been added. So I don't know if this is going to be taking over job quests, because the way it is, each Disciple of War Magic will be able to progress through one of these 4 series of quests based on their designated role. The required level ranges from 70 to 80. Furthermore, completion of at least one of the series of role quests is required to complete the main scenario of Shadowbringers. Okay. So at level 70, for example, for the tanks, we start this. And it starts at the Crystarium. And of course we have the NPC. Okay. And then all of these look like they start at the Crystarium, just different NPCs. Additional quests will be unlocked upon completing the entirety of the main scenario in all 4 role quest series. Got you. 5.0 new job quests have been added. Okay, this is what I wanted to know. Disciples of War Magic will be able to accept 1 new job quest after completing the final quest of the main scenario in their designated role quest series. So they've taken out all of those little ones from my understanding with this. So we do the role quest. Once we've completed that in the main scenario, we're going to have 1 job quest. Cool. I like that, because I hate, I stack mine up because I'm just I'm too busy going through the main quest scenario or going through whatever. And then I'm like, oh, I'm max. I got to go back to unlock the 2 or 3 skills I haven't acquired yet. And then I go back and acquire them. So I'm glad that they did this. I'm actually happy. Perfect. Then they have the location of every one of the jobs. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, 5.0 Crystarium deliveries have been added. Crystarium deliveries are a new type of custom deliveries. Each Disciple of Hand or Land will be able to progress through 1 of 5 series of quests associated with different facets of the crystalline mean. Completing deliveries for a facet of the crystalline mean will advance the story of that particular facet. Now, I do actually like the fact that everything in this game has its own associated story arc to it. Sometimes it's a little monotonous and a little overdrawn, but it does offer a unique perspective for each player who is dedicated to that specific job or that specific role. And I have nothing but respect because of how much detail Square Enix puts into developing these stories for each of these jobs. Okay. So, wow. This is cool. Okay. That's interesting. My grandkids are here, by the way. So if you hear them in the background, I apologize. All right. Nice. Excellent. This is cool. This is actually, I think this is going to be badass. Okay, 2.0 and 4.0. To support new and returning players, additions and adjustments have been made to reward for certain main scenarios, side stories, and job quests. Nice. Leaves. New leave quests have been added for Disciples of Hand and Land. Tradecraft and Fieldcraft leave quest rewards will be significantly reduced when using a class at level 70 or above to complete a leave with a level requirement below 70. Okay, makes sense. New fates have been added. Now, I do like the fact that the new fate system has a new currency. So I'm hoping what we're going to see is a lot more people utilizing the fates moving forward. But another thing that I would want to see happen is maybe events that are fate driven. And that would be really cool as well. Okay, now players will receive bi-colored gemstones upon completing fates in 5.0 areas. This currency can be exchanged with gemstone traders and NPCs for various goods. Furthermore, as you continue to complete fates in these new areas, gemstone traders will offer a wider selection of items. That's a cool idea. So here we have 4 of the zones, 2 of which are blocked, so we can associate that we are getting 6 new zones in Shadowbringers. So that's kind of cool that they kind of gave us an example. But the more we do our fates, the better rewards we're going to get in each zone for completing fates in the zone. That's cool. I actually like that. I think that's incentivized. That's what I'm talking. Incentivize the reason behind it. Awesome. Love it. Treasure hunt. 3 times 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. The following additions and adjustments have been made to treasure maps. Glider skin treasure maps and Zonrunk skin treasure maps have been added. Rewards for Wyvern skin treasure maps and Gagana skin treasure maps have been adjusted. Allegan Tombstone rewards for completions of treasure maps have been changed from Allegan Tombstones of Medacity and Allegan Tombstones of Genesis to Allegan Tombstones of Poetic. We saw that coming. Okay. 4 and 5.0 players will now be synced to level 70 when entering the Lost Canals of Zunair, the Hidden Canals of Zunair, and the Shifting Altars of Zunair. Grand and free companies. 5.0 additional items will now be accepted for supply and provisioning missions. Cool. 2.0 the display of submersible parameters have been adjusted. Okay. 2.0 Blue Mage, Gunbreaker, and Dancer symbols options have been added to company crests. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. Housing. 2.0, 5.0. Furnishings from Final Fantasy XIV Furnishing Design Contest have been added. Nice. Excellent. So they did show that off in the last live letter. And also the preview option. Kind of cool. Blue Mage have been added for mannequins. Okay. New estate tags have been added. A preview function for furnishing. I actually like this. I thought that was kind of cool. If you were going to get into it, how to utilize it. The restrictions on exterior fixtures based on housing wards have been removed. A help interface will now display when speaking with the resident caretaker of housing features. Crafting facility furnishing can now be used by crafting classes up to 70. Sweet. Yes. Excellent. Awesome. I like the fact that, you know, they keep adjusting these things, and sweet. In accordance with the increased character level cap, level 80 Crysterium striking dummies have been added. Well, because of the hit point. Yeah. So we're getting new target dummies. Cool. 2.0, 5.0, new orchestra rolls have been added. 2.0, new aquarium fishes have been added. That's kind of cool. A new seed for flower pots have been added. Okay. Mandeville Gold Saucer 2.0, new prizes are available for purchase using MGP. 2.0, 5.0, the following additions and changes have been made to Triple Triad. New cards have been added. Okay, always a good thing. New NPC opponents for Triple Triad have been added. Of course, we're getting a new zone. Players can now engage in Triple Triad matches in new areas. Okay, pretty standard. 2.0, the following additions and changes have been made to Dolmen Mahjong. An option to reset rank and ratings have been added. I don't know why, unless you're, you know, I mean, I guess. And the image of your character will now be displayed when playing. Okay. The display of calls can now be canceled by right-clicking with your mouse and icon. This is a good game, but when a player, you know, I wish they would give a better reward for playing Mahjong. You know, other than, you know, the challenges. I wish, like, because Mahjong is definitely a. My mom played it. I do play it. The only way I can explain it, and maybe one day I'll go over it, it's like dominoes meets poker. Dominoes and poker kind of combined. Okay? It's the best way I can kind of generalize it, because you're trying to get straights, you're trying to get pairs, you're trying to, you know, and you're basically trying to, the more winning hands or the more you get, you're deducting points from your opponents. Okay. Miscellaneous, players can now select the Rothgar and Vieira races. Everybody's looking forward to it, even though there was a little bit of, you know, drama wrapped around it. 2.0, 4.0, 5.0, the following additions and adjustments have been made to the sightseeing log. Okay. 2.0, the following additions and changes have been made to the challenge log. In Your Fate 2. Okay. Fate to the Warden, Embrace Your Fate. 3.0, Cole's Bronze certification of accommodations have been added as reward for completing Wondrous Tales. This is a challenge, trying to get Wondrous Tales completed, but it's well worth the reward. But it is a challenge to get it in the time frame that you're trying to get all your other weeklies out of the way. 5.0, Skywatcher NPCs have been added to the newer areas. 5.0, new emotes have been added. I can't wait to actually see new emotes. I love the emotes in this game. 2.0, new hairstyles have been added. Nice. Giving us battle system. This is the big one. 5.0, the level cap for all Disciples of War and Magic have been raised to 80. 5.0, the Gunbreaker and Dancer jobs have been added. The Gunbreaker is the tank. Gunbreakers can be unlocked by completing the following quests. So you're going to be in New Gridania. You're going to pick up God's Quiver Bow. Actions and traits. For more details regarding actions and traits, please refer to Final Fantasy XIV Job Guide. And I might do another video on the job guide. Dancer DPS. Dancers can be unlocked by completing the following quests. Disciples of War and Magic. Luminzia. Lower Decks. And the NPC is Eager Lominzian. Okay. 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, and 5 point. New job actions have been added. I think we've already seen this. For more details regarding new actions, please refer to Final Fantasy XIV Job Guide. 2, 3, and 4, substantial revision have been made to the battle system. Okay. Go to the job guide. They've updated those. 2.0, Umbral Ice now also reduces the MP cost of ice spells. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. This effect increases with each strike gain. 2.0, Enmity gained for certain healing actions have been reduced. I'm liking the sound of that as a healer. 2.0, to improve player usability and time frame within which players must execute actions to continue or complete combos have been extended. Okay, well, that was a sentence. 2.0, a fixed set of role actions have been assigned to all jobs. Players will learn role actions as they level and will no longer be required to select a subset of these actions to be used in combat. Thank you. 2.5.0. The following adjustments have been made to limit breaks. This is kind of what I was a little whatever about. Okay. First break. The rate at which limit break gauges fills when using healing actions have been reduced. The limit break gauge will no longer fill when non-healer jobs use healing actions. The rate at which limit break gauge fills in new areas when taking damage from enemies under certain conditions have been reduced. So it's going to take longer to fill the limit breakers between tanks and healers. Okay. 2.0, the interrupt effect has been added. Okay. A gauge indicating when actions can be interrupted has been added. Player actions with this new effect can prevent the execution of enemy abilities when used before this bar can be filled. The following actions have this effect: interject, head graze, flying sardine, bad breath. Okay, so this was really important for me, especially as a tank. I've said one of the things I'd like to see is more interactive abilities or role that you need to interrupt certain effects getting ready to occur. The game has some, but not enough. So with Shadowbringers, it looks like we're going to see that, especially probably in Eden, where we're going to have certain mechanics that it's going to need to be interrupted. And that does take it takes the gameplay up a notch, especially when you're moving from a normal mode to a Slayer or hard mode. Okay, 2.3.4 and 5 charge actions have been implemented. I love the fact that they've implemented a system like this. It'll make it harder for me to utilize the configurations. However, I like the fact that it's going to kind of put a new pace for our rotation. Okay. 2.3.4 and 5 certain weapon skills and spells will now have unique recast timers. While these actions are still affected by global cooldown timers, they will not share a recast timers with other weapon skills. Okay, cool deal. 2.3.4.5 the following adjustments have been made to pets. Pet actions have been removed. Pets can no longer be targeted by player or enemy actions. Pets will no longer be displayed in the party list. Pet HP will no longer be displayed when targeting. We discussed this, and one of our only concerns is what are they going to do with Titan Eggy? I like the fact that, you know, we can utilize the pets probably in a rotation a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to kind of wrap this up. My grandson's kind of being whatever. The trust system's been added, so that's cool. New trials. So we got new trials. The Echo. Okay. Players can the Raid Finder now only lists trials and duties introduced with patch 5.0. However, the unending coil of Bahamut Ultimate and Weapons Refrain Ultimate can still be accessed via Raid Finder. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out when that goes live. Duty finders have been adjusted. We knew that was going to happen. I just wish they would have kept 50 and 60. I knew they were going to put 70 in. I wish they would have extended the 70, right, to give it accessible from 60 to 70, you know, raids. you know, because we already have trials and we already have raids that implement all aspects between 50 to 70. So I wish the dungeon duty finder or roulette would have just kept the 50 to 60, and then we have, you know, the 60 to 70. So it gives us more to do in a day. Sometimes I feel honestly that we go through it maybe a little bit too fast because of the way they're clumped up together. But that's my opinion, because the leveling one is going to incorporate anything that we're viable at between our levels anyways, associated levels. There is a chart that actually kind of shows how the tombstone reward system is going to be implemented. Okay, and we're going to be also losing chain pull bonuses, but they've also increased the XP amount to take that into consideration. Okay. The weekly restrictions on receiving crack clusters upon clearing the Ouroborn Monastery have been removed. Cool. So we got new mobs. I really would like to have this mount. That would be cool. Hopefully that's a new mount moving forward. Players can now hunt regular and elite marks in the new areas. Okay. Mark bills. There's a lot. There are a lot, and I'm talking a lot of patch notes here. PvP traits have been removed. In accordance with this change, the trait tabs of PvP profile windows have been removed. PvP actions for all jobs have been adjusted. Additional actions are now adjusted based on current job's role. The following adjustments have been made to PvP. TP has been removed. The range of melee attacks has been increased. Nice. The global cooldown time of actions have been increased. HP recovery rate outside of combat has been increased from 10 to 20%. Nice. I actually like that. MP recovery rate combat has been increased. Okay. MP recovery rate outside of combat by 100. Players will now be granted temporary immunity to knockback and draw-in effects after being affected by them. Yeah, we knew that. There was like certain jobs. We have cooldowns affected by CC effects, but unfortunately, if like I hit you with a CC and that wears off, the other person can hit you immediately afterwards, and it was in response to healing. So I understand the immunity, but I'm a little now worried because healers are already a pain in the ass to take out. So, yeah. The Feast PvP team season has ended. Okay. New items have been added. Okay, because we're getting so we have new gear, glamour. New recipes have been added. 5.0 not listed. 3.0 certain items can no longer be sold. Sales prices of certain items have been changed. Okay. The effects of the following item: Icarus Wing, Regain Feather. So some of these are now just effects instead of TP. Icarus and Regain would give you TP. So now they're just visual effects. Yeah. Commercial engineering manuals. Okay, 2.0. Following MP recovery items will now restore a fixed amount of MP regardless instead of percentage. That makes sense because we have a hard cap now. The main attributes of accessories have been adjusted in accordance with the rebalancing of the battle system. The main attributes of Aetherite earrings when equipped by a tank have been changed from vitality to strength. Okay, makes sense. The haste attributes on certain equipments will now display a plus sign rather than a minus. Level 71 to 80 gear can now be repaired using grade 7 dark matter. Gunbreaker and Dancer have been added as required jobs for certain gear. Pretty standard stuff here. have been increased. After watching it the first time, it is now possible to skip the cutscenes when requesting material transmutation. Thank you. The following types of material are no longer able to be obtained, and their attribute enhancing capabilities have been removed. And that's all main stat materia. So main stat materia is gone. If it, it's been removed. So hopefully everybody's, taken that into consideration and made those adjustments so those materia you can, transmute them. Level cap for desynthesizing has been increased. Okay, because we're getting a cap. Once again, level cap for Disciple of Hands, 80. Okay. Crafters, a lot of changes. Okay, so here's a chart kind of going over, all of the kind of those skills. Rapid synthesis, reuse, delicate synthesis, 76, intense synthesis, 78, trained eye, 80, trained instinct, 80, steady hands now 37, and by God's blessing it's 50. The following crafter actions have been removed: Brand of the Wind, by God's Brow, Name of the Wind, Fire, Ice, Earth, Lightning, Water. Okay. Carpenters, Inner Quiet, so we have adjustments to actions. Heart of the Carpenter has been adjusted. Inner Quiet to the Blacksmith, Heart of the Blacksmith. So all the Inner Quiets and the Hearts have been adjusted, but piece by piece for Armorer has also been an adjustment. Innovation for Goldsmith's been adjusted, and Marker's Mark. And Muscle Memory for Culinary. Okay. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the crafting log. I love this. I actually love this new feature. The success chance now based on your score, it's amazing. This is going to be this was a much needed quality of life change. Love this. To kind of show what's going on, the abilities, quality, and all of that, and up here's your success. I love all of this. 100% effectiveness. Love these changes. Difficulty of certain recipes have been found. Most of this we've covered in the live letter. So Miner, Stickler, Given Land 74, Pick Clean 77, Mind of the Mountaineer 78, Stickler 71, The Giving Land 74, Pick Clean 77, Mind of the Pioneer 78, Fisher, Surface Slap 71, Identical Gig 77, Identical Cast 79. Traits changes between 70 to 80. Between 70 to 80 for Fisher. Fisher got quite a bit. New Miner and Botanist gathering points have been added. New fishing holes have been added. S-rank records now can be obtained. New teeming waters have been added. Oh, nice. AAA records can now be obtained with all gig heads. Okay. New tomes of regional folklore have been added. New items that can be used for ether reductions have been added. The amount of items received from etheric reductions have been added. The following adjustments have been made to concealed gathering points. Clusters can no longer be gathered. The number of favor effects related to concealed gathering points that can be applied at once is now limited to 1. The previous active effects will be overwritten if new favor is used. The following gathering items no longer rare or hidden. Okay, so there's quite a bit, which is kind of cool. It's a lot of stuff into the crafting. Players above level 70 will now receive a maximum of 10,000 XP when trading collectibles. The amount of XP received from delivering collectibles as level 60-70 gather has been increased. That's 4.0. The following additions and adjustments have been made to crafters and gathering scripts. The white crafting scripts and white gathering script currencies has been added for Disciples of Hand and Disciples of Land that are level 80. Red crafter scripts and red gathering scripts are no longer obtainable. Okay. Blue crafter scripts and blue gathering scripts have been removed. The amount of yellow crafter and gathering scripts required in exchange for items have been adjusted. Okay. The amount of crafter and gathering scripts received from delivering collectibles have been adjusted. Level 70 arm gear and accessories have been added to the inventory of vendors in Coogan. Cool. New items have been added to the inventory of Calamity Salvagers. New mounts have been added. Ooh, try it. What? I don't know about that, but that's badass. First one. Following mounts are now able. All the following mounts are now able to fly. Anything that was a ground mount is now flyable. New chocobo boarding has been added. Okay. New minions have been added. System. A market board has been added to the Crystarium. In accordance with the additional of a new market board, reduced tax rates have been adjusted. The following additions and adjustments have been made to retainers. Retainers can now be registered to the Crystarium market. Rothgar and Vieira can now be selected as retainer races during customization. Hairstyles, face, okay. Retainer level cap's been raised to 80. Retainers can now be assigned Gunbreaker and Dancer jobs, of course. New objectives have been added to delivery missions and exploration ventures. Exploration ventures are now displayed with the highest level. Okay. Retainer animations, yeah, okay. The color of retainers' nameplates have been changed. Okay, cool deal. The following additions and adjustments have been made to achievements. Certain categories have been adjusted. Achievements can now be selected via subcommand and recorded to the watch list for easy access. Nice. Achievements can now be filtered by completion status or type of reward. Okay, so I like the new filter. I like some of the new quality of life changes. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the recommendations windows. Okay, cool. A lot of times, you skip this because it just pops up and you're like, I know what I have in my quest log. But now, at least they're, they can lock them, and just new quality of life. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the Party Finder. Links to the Party Finder listings can now be posted in chat log. Oh, okay, that's actually really cool. Clicking on the link in the chat log will open the corresponding Party Finder listing. Don't you wish every game had, a good queue or party finding system? Because certain games, no matter how long they've been out, their party finding system or their queue system just keeps getting worse, while this game just keeps getting better. Thank God. Cross-world party invitations to players on other worlds can now be issued via the chat log. What? Dude, that's so badass. 5.0, the battle animations for allied NPC in quest battles will now always appear. The amount of glamours that can be stored in the glamour dresser has been increased from 2 to 400. Thank you. The amount of glamour plates from 10 to 15. Thank you. Trust system NPCs will now be included in group pose at the time of duty completion. Nice. For all those people who like to take a picture. Recordable duties have been changed. A target's HP now will display in increments a percentage. That is awesome. UI color schemes, quality of life, just, HUD color. In accordance with the increased level cap and the conditions that must be met to set your status as new adventurer have been adjusted as follows. Before and after, how many hours played, and what you need to do to get these removed. Like your little sproutling and flower icons. All right. Conceding with the increase in level cap, the requirements for new mentors have been adjusted. And they're going to give you, like, I think, what, until 5 point something to reach this, to get your mentor status, you know, to be able to maintain your mentor status. If it drops, you can still acquire it, but it's just saying the mentor status has been adjusted due to the level cap. Okay, in a nutshell. The following additions and adjustments have been made to cross-world link shells, DualShock controllers, and other gabs will now give notification when your queue's up. So if you have a controller and you're a controller player and you're holding it and you get a queue, it'll vibrate. Pretty cool. Text related to format of disbanding of a party will no longer appear in a cutscene is in progression. There is so much. I mean, I think I'm almost at the bottom, but wow. Okay, so this has to do with, like, positioning of targets. Following additions, adjustments have been made to the map. Separate toggles to turn the map text and map icons on and off. Certain quest objectives have been changed to indicate elevation. Kind of cool. So there's, like, you know, the up or down. So sweet. Job gauge detailed has been revised. The unlimited system, the frame rate limit in the display settings sections of system configuration has been replaced with a maximum of 90 frames per second setting. Okay. Additions have been made to the system configuration interface. Settings have been removed from the character configuration interface, and that's the pet interface. Additions have been made to character configuration interface, link shells, and it looks like we're getting additional adjustments have been made to keybind menus. Okay. It's kind of cool to know, you know, about the keybinds, and especially with link shells. Command prompts. So now we have command prompts, command and descriptions. It's kind of really cool, especially with the link shells and channels. We'll probably also see some of that in our, hotbar icons, macro icons the same. So a lot of our scripting commands for macroing. So if you're into macroing, I do suggest that you go over your command prompt, any of the changes affecting your scripts. Additions have been made to the auto translation dictionary. Cool. New music has been added. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's going to be huge. The title screen logo and opening movie have been changed. Nice. They did that. They do that with every expansion. Tales of Adventure in a Realm Reborn and Tales of Adventure Heaven's Work can now be used to unlock glamours. Cool. Gunbreaker and Dancer have been added to the solo rankings for Palace of the Dead and Heavens on High. Resolved issues. If you care about what they've fixed, there's a list. A very long list. Known issues, current issues that they're aware of and they're looking at resolving. Okie day. A lot of Mac. You can see a lot of Mac. So in a nutshell, we've kind of browsed over the patch notes. Now I do say there are other content creators going in a lot more detail with these patch notes. Brian at Work to Game did a stream on it. I do make that recommendation. You check him out. Mioni's good at going over a lot of this information. Mr. Happy, Mystique, all of these content creators are really good who've already been here. I'm just going over it as a new player, so have at it what you will. I'm taking nothing but positivity out of this. My only concern moving forward is how the PvP, about the PvP system moving forward. That's my only negative out of all of this. Why? Because we're on a solo queue system and the incentives are a little light. I think they need to increase the PvP to a multi-queue system. Meaning if I want to queue Frontlines and Feast, I should be able to queue both, not be forced to choose one because the queue timers are already too long as it is. Second, incentives. If players don't have incentives, they're not really going to care about getting involved into the PvP system unless it's, the season of the feast and they're being competitive for those rewards. Another aspect to take into consideration is how I like everything what the PvP system embodies. I like Rival Wings, I like Frontlines, I like the Feast. I also like the separation of PvE and PvP. I wouldn't get that customization element down a little bit better and add diminishing effects. Ugh. Other than that, if they were to do those things, PvP would be a lot more enjoyable in Final Fantasy XIV. But until they do that, they could throw anything into the PvP system and a lot of players aren't going to care. Why? Because it's not being attended to what it needs. And it does need these things that I'm suggesting. These are suggestions from an experienced tester / gamer. Please take my recommendation serious. If you don't want to, hey, I don't care. Once again, I want to thank everybody. I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. As always, thank you. Have a nice day.